Everyone, it's Chris van der Kerk at Bluerhino Safaris. Yes, I recently did the show at Gallagher Estate, the caravanning show, and there was a lot of interest in my tour for next year for the Serengeti. And as I explained to most of the people stopping at my stall, the Serengeti trip is one trip, and it's normally a 31-day trip, and we do the Serengeti and Zanzibar, and we focus on the Serengeti and the coastal section. And then in December, I normally would do the gorillas and the chimps and the lakes. So we would stay on the inland side, we would skip the coastal region completely. But then every 4 years or so, more or less, I take a break in December when I don't do the gorillas in December. So then I shift my gorillas over to the Serengeti trip. Now, to do the two trips combined is going to be a really long trip. It will be about 45 days in total. So therefore I modify the trip a little bit, make it a bit shorter, make sure that we can cover all our bases going up, but still have a really nice tour. So for example, the Serengeti, where I would normally sleep 4 nights, on this trip I only sleep 1 night. Up at Lake Tanganyika, where I normally would sleep 3 nights, I only sleep 2 nights. So there's a few things that I have to do just to keep the tour inside of the required time span. Timing is also an issue because we need to catch the wildebeest in a specific place in the park in the Serengeti. So we have to get the timing right as far as when do we leave and when will we arrive in the Serengeti. So 2025 is ready. It's very similar to the one I did in 22, I think it was. Only difference is COVID is not an issue anymore. So we didn't go into Malawi in 22 because of COVID issues. We had to change our route. But this year or next year, I'm going to do the normal route again. COVID's not a problem anymore for us when we travel. Rwanda is open again, so we go into Rwanda. So let me go through the trip for you quickly. So we start in Kasane, which is in northern Botswana. For those who don't know, we start in Kasane. We meet each other there. From Joburg, it's about a 2-day drive. But it pushes up as far as we can go before we have to have some logistic issues. So getting into Zambia logistically is always a bit of a headache. So we try to start there where everybody is with me, and I have my runners and everybody that I need is on board so that we can do that crossing as easily as possible. Excuse me. So we start in Kasane. Early the next morning we head across the river and we head up towards Lusaka. We don't do the falls on the way up. We will stop at the falls for our last night on the way down. So we skip the falls on the way up. We want to get to the top and get the tour done, and then we'll celebrate and have a nice dinner when we come back and see the falls on the last night. So we cross the river, head up to Lusaka. We do a bit of shopping in Lusaka. Botswana, you can't take raw meat through, so we do our meat shopping in Lusaka. They have very good meat in Zambia. Then from there up with the Copperbelt Road, turn right, ultimately end up at the hot spring. We spend the night there, have a late morning departure, relax a little bit, and we head up to Tanzania just before the border where we sleep. The road is a lot better these days, so this might change at some point, but at this point in time, I'm still going to stick with the camp just before the border. Cross the border, turn left, and we head up to Lake Tanganyika. 2 nights at Lake Tanganyika, and then we leave Tanganyika. We sleep 1 night on a intermittent campsite between 2 nights actually. One in the campsite and then one in a hotel. There's no campsites in the area, so there's a hotel night before we ultimately get to Rwanda. In Rwanda, we cross the border. It was a lot easier the other day than when I went through there. No visas required anymore for South Africans, so it was fairly straightforward, quite quick to get through that border in December when I was there. And then we go into Kigali and we sleep there for 2 nights. Kigali, capital of Rwanda, a lovely city, nice little shops, nice campsite that we have there. and we stay there for 2 nights. We visit the Genocide Museum, so we have enough time to look around. Once we are done there, we head up to Uganda, and we go to the little town of Kisoro, and in Kisoro we sleep for 2 nights. These little tents are not totally accurate, but 2 nights in Kisoro, which means we can visit the organic coffee farm. It's just around the corner, just a kilometer away. We do the whole coffee tour experience, from little plants to the trees, to the harvesting, to how they dry the beans, to making coffee, roasting coffee, tasting coffee, the whole experience. It's incredible. I've been going to this coffee farm for probably 10 years now, and the family that owns it are very friendly, and it's really a nice experience. So we do the coffee experience there. It's not included in your cost. That's also one of the differences between Serengeti and gorillas. I don't include activities on the gorilla tour because it can be quite expensive. But the coffee tour, I think, is about $30 per person to do that tour. So that's not included in the price, but I recommend it to everybody. Do the coffee tour. It is really quite cool to do it. Then once we're done with that, we head up to our trekking lodge, and we trek in Bwindi Impenetrable Park. Again, the gorilla fee is not included in my fees. Uganda is busy changing the fees, and we're not sure exactly what it will be. They are actually bringing the prices down. It was $700 per person last time we were there, and my contact said that it looks like they're going to drop the price to about $500 per person for Africans, South African people, not South Africans, SADC people. So it looks like the prices of the gorilla permits are going to come down, which is good news. So we spent 2 nights at the lodge at Bwindi Impenetrable Park, and we trek on the day between those 2 nights. Next day after the trek, we head off to Fort Portal. Fort Portal is right here in the north. It's across the equator. We are in the northern hemisphere, and this is where we do our chimp trekking from. We trek in the morning between the 2 nights. We trek in the morning. Our campsite has interesting monkeys on the campsite. It is a little reserve for primates. So lovely campsite there to camp in, close to town. Nice coffee shop in town, pizzas, burgers, meals. If you've done your trekking and you've had your shower, you can go into town and have a pizza if you want one. Once we are done there, we head over to the Nile River. And this is middle of the trip, and we take 3 nights there. There's a lot of activities that we can do there: kayaking, rafting, sunset cruises, drive to the source of the Nile. There's so much that you can do in the area. But we also take the time to do a bit of washing and just take a break, not driving for a few days. So we spent 3 days in Jinja. And then you can see the pink section that is in here. Now that pink section is what is different from my normal gorilla trip. Normally in December I would just go through Kenya and around. We do the crater and come back home. But on this trip we stay close to Lake Victoria. It is part of the Great Lakes, so we sleep on Lake Victoria for a night at least. And then we go into the Serengeti for 3 nights. Normally it would be 4, but on this trip, just to keep it tight, we go in for 3 nights. The wildebeest should be there. We find that, we drive through the park. I show you the park. It's a lovely park to just drive through, even if you, I've always seen the wildebeest, they're always there, but it's really just a lovely park to experience. The predators, the campsites, it's so unique. It's really worth it. Once we're done there, we go through to the crater. Into the crater, and on our way through out on the other side. That's our 4th night, is just outside of the Ngorongoro crater. Save us a little bit of money. We can still do the whole crater experience, but we don't sleep in an expensive campsite. We sleep in a slightly cheaper campsite, which makes a bit of a difference on the budget. Then our longest day for the trip, from there we head down to Dodoma, the capital of Tanzania, and then further down to Iringa, where we sleep for the night. Long day, Lovely day's drive through the winelands of Tanzania, if you haven't seen that or didn't know that it was there. Ultimately arriving at Iringa. And then with COVID past, we don't have to cut straight back home. We can actually do a little loop through Malawi. So we end up out here, turn left down to Malawi for 2 nights. Again, wood carving, artists, nice beach, lodge. So nice to be in Malawi just to relax a little bit on the way home. Once we are finished there, we head back into Zambia. We sleep at Chipata, then down to Lusaka, and then down to Livingstone. Livingstone will be the last night, night 34, if I'm not mistaken. And you can see the falls. It's prime time still for the falls, mid-June. The water is still very high, so the falls will be full. And you can do your chopper flights, eat in a restaurant, have a beer with the sunset. It's really a lovely spot to go to. And that is the sum total of the trip. So no Zanzibar, no coastal region, but there's enough double days in this trip to make it a nice trip that you're not driving every day. There's quite a few double days and triple days that we can experience. So if you want to go, please let me know quite urgently. I know there's a lot of people that have been asking for this, and I'm getting emails almost daily to say, remember at the show you said this trip is coming, so where is it? We want to book on it. So I expect the trip to fully book quite quickly. Don't delay. If you have any questions, please ask me. Otherwise, your Serengeti park fees are included. Your crater fees are included, but your gorilla and chimp permits are not included. And then activities like kayaking and sunset cruises and those things are not included. Otherwise, all your camping fees are included, all your park fees are included for Serengeti and Ngorongoro. And that's it. If you want to go, let me know. This is going to go quick, and it's going to be a really nice trip. I always love this version of the trip as well, because it's such nice areas that we go through. Have a good day. Stay safe. We chat again. Cheers.